Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up.
Ember.
Oh, Ember.
Miss Ember.
Oh, great, Ember. Tell me what I'm doing.
Appreciate you, Ember.
Love Ember. She's great.
Bottom of the barrel Ember bullshit.
Oh my God, Ember.
Ember.
We love you, Amber.
You rock at that, Ember.
Ember is the queen.
We're neighbors, Ember.
I see you, Ember.
Hey, Ember is hot.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. We're doing our second show of the morning. If you missed it, we just had a fantastic Java and Jugs. It was intense, but we covered a whole lot of ground. And also there was both Java and Jugs. So, you know, if you missed that, don't worry. You can rewatch the video later. But right now, I'm joined by the one and only Deviant Outcast. Not to be confused with any other Outcast.
No. This is the deviant one.
Hell yeah.
Deviant, but not devious, unless, well...
It's an adventure. Oh goodness, so many adventures. Now, I do want to say, I realize it'll only do any good for the people who are watching this, but none of the redirects worked this morning. Like my redirect from the previous show to this show did not go through. The Daily Atheist Morning Show redirect from Java and Jugs to this show went to the show that we just finished, and like
what?
None of the redirects are working. So congratulations if you made it here.
So what was it? Was it due to just human mistake or something wonky with YouTube?
combination of factors. Sometimes the gizmos get weird, and with the my stream from my earlier stream to this stream, the redirect just didn't go off. From the damn channel, I think what happened was whoever scheduled the redirect picked the next show that was showing up on my channel when they set it up, which was the same show as what was going on the damn channel. So it redirected to a show that was already, it was the same show instead of this show because it was the next show. So it's a combination of things. I don't know. Technology is weird. But that's another good reason to subscribe, so you can find this channel and see that we're live whenever we're live.
Exactly.
If redirects work.
But what you're essentially saying is people need to quit being wonky with their gear.
I mean, what you do with your gear in the privacy of your own home, that's up to you. I don't judge.
That's what I'm saying. I was very surprised, nearly shocked. I almost went to the hospital. That's how shocking it was. But I'm now, I have rearranged the moon and Saturn and the rings of Uranus are locked in, and I think we can make it through.
We'll be rearranging some cosmic backgrounds a little later in the week. We're exploring the cosmos. It's hold on. I have a list. I will just tell you the list. So today we're continuing our exploration of Egyptian technology. Tomorrow we're exploring the cosmos, and we're starting with the new pride flag. As many of you may be aware, I reconstituted the space pride flag, and then I added the missing bits because Rachel Lenz created it in 2024 for Pride Month. In 2025, the incoming U.S. administration deleted the damn thing because it was made from NASA images, so they deleted it from NASA servers. I tracked down all the images it was made from originally and then added more images to make it the current one. It brought it up to date with the current level of inclusivity. And it's gone. Okay, so the flag itself has not gone viral. Someone took a screenshot of my post about rebuilding the flag, and the screenshot of my post has gone viral, not my post itself, which is a whole thing. It leads me into the way larger creators just steal traffic from smaller creators, which is another reason why it's so important to both subscribe and use the share button, because spreading the information from its actual source is the only way it reaches anyone. As soon as anything starts to get any kind of traction, somebody bigger will come along and instead of sharing it, will screenshot it and capture the traffic for themselves. So that's kind of bullshit. But the image of the flag has gone viral, and so I want to start there as we explore the cosmos. What are these images? And let's go from there out into the vastness of space. It'll be pretty neat. Kyle, if you'd like to join for that, that would be an excellent one to dig into. If you feel up to it, let me know. You know how to reach me. Right. The rest of the there's other things avast. Wednesday, the first spies, because at some point in history there was the first spy. I can't remember who said what that got me down on that path, but I'm like, yes, spies in history. This will be amazing. Thursday, the first laws, which may or may not have arisen in response to the first spies. Who's to say? But Dr. Kip will be joining to talk about those because I'm very slowly going through his book. I'm very, very slow. I feel like a failure as a book reader, but I just passed the section where he talks about ancient law codes that preceded even the Code of Hammurabi. So it gives me an excuse to talk to Dr. Kip. And so we're going to be doing that, and it'll be neat. So join us for Beyond Hammurabi on Thursday, and Friday, we're going to talk about the first temple. We're going way back in history on this one. This is prehistoric by more than twice. Like, the definition of history is when writing happened, which is about 5,000 years ago. we're going to a temple so old it's more than twice as far back in time. And that should be fucking cool. So I hope you join us all week, plus bonus shows. Just subscribe. Just subscribe. Like, everything we do here is fucking cool. You're gonna love it. Oh goodness. Theo asks, is Kyle actually cosmic? He is. I do believe. Yes. He's based somewhere in space, which is technically true even for those of us on Earth, because Earth is in space. I digress. Deviant, how are you today?
I'm good. I just now realized that I became very quickly almost knee deep and completely focused on reading in the Cahoon. What's the word? The Cahoon Gynecological Papyrus, because it was one of the things that I thought we should at least mention.
Well, you mentioned it, so tell us about it. What is this thing, and why does it matter to history?
So it's called the Cahoon the Cahoon Gynecological Papyrus. I don't know. There's something when I speak. I think maybe I need something to drink. Every time I try to say one specific word, my when you get this, it start to it's like your throat is closing.
Oh, I know the feeling, and in fact, that's good advice for everybody too. Remember to hydrate.
Hydrate.
Come, bear with us for a bit.
With
here. Hey,
Epic
folks!
water.
I've been working hard on my health, and so far I've lost over 140 pounds. A huge part of good health is hydration. That's why I'm thrilled to partner with Epic Water Filters. Check this out. Not only can you say goodbye to expensive bottled water, but these filters are made in the US, so no tariffs, and they're made to fit your life. From these lovely pitchers I can fill from, to sink units, to portable filters that fit in your reusable bottle. With Epic, I can refill from nature's water sources and not have to worry about bacteria and whatnot. But also, send back a used filter to be responsibly recycled, and they'll send you a free replacement, saving you and the earth even more. Want to save a ton of money, be healthier, and build a better world? Head to epicwaterfilters.com and enter code EMBER15 at checkout for 15% off. Don't settle for random water. Upgrade to Epic. Hell yeah. We got that in quick and easy. And you can't talk about Egypt without the importance of water, because the whole civilization depends on the Nile. But I digress. You were talking about a scroll. Was it this scroll?
Yes.
Hooray. I found the right thing.
So it was found in the 1800s CE by Philindus Petrie, and it dates, as it says here. Here it says 12th dynasty. It's dated to 1825, give or take, BCE, and that means. Let me see. I'm double checking because I don't want to get it wrong. Yes, exactly. It puts us in the time of Amenemhat III, who was pharaoh of the 12th dynasty, which belongs to the Middle Kingdom. And as I said, 1825, give or take, BCE. And it's the oldest writing we have, even oldest evidence. I mean, writing is one type of evidence, it's historical evidence. but there are, of course, archaeological evidence as well, and there can be evidence that points toward medicine being practiced that we can see, like on the dead, for instance. But what's special with this one is that it's about illnesses specific to women. And I'm looking.
This is a gynecological papyrus?
Yes. Yes. And it's even like it's organized. I shouldn't talk while I'm trying to look for something, but I still do. Though I obviously haven't figured out that G and K aren't the same. Anyway,
well, technically correct.
Technically correct, yeah. And I'm glad I can at least go there. I'm just going to pull up the other one. So it is. It's organized. The papyrus is organized into like it's not. I don't really know how people would imagine a papyrus of that sort, or a medical papyrus in all to look, if they are expecting this is organized in a way that tells us that it's specific to, it's been written down, and it's specific to issues or problems or whatever, anomalies, or just childbirth that has to do with women's health.
Right. This was sort of the combination of things that have to do with, like, at the time it seems to be, and of course, correct me if I'm misunderstanding here, that everybody was treated with the same general medicine, but then there was also this idea that certain women-specific illnesses had something to do with the uterus, which was the woman's specific organ. And so they had all these ideas, some of them more advanced than others. Some were basically what we would call essential oils today. And they put them all together into this one guidebook of basically a medical textbook for women's health from the 19th century BCE.
Mm-hmm. And it's structured in a way where they have 34 different cases of examples of issues and variations of those issues, how they can present. And then there are also a variation of treatment regimes, like what can you do? Imagine the Bible would feature some. Yeah.
I know. Give us some. I mean, in fairness to the Bible, it does say, "Wash your damn hands. Wash your damn filthy hands." But then Jesus comes along and says, "No, don't wash your hands. Forget what Moses said. We're just whatever happens is what God wills."
Yeah, and it's interesting because what I was looking for when I was talking about G isn't the same as K is because I have somewhere, I have the full, oh wait, maybe I have found it, the translation. of so, and some of these are kind of, from our perspective, they're kind of weird, but they do have logic to them. And the way the papyrus is, what do you say? If you do a book, you like the format. Is that
like
right?
the layout kind of thing, like the way it's presented as distinct pages.
Not like distinct pages, but like if I when I wrote papers for the university, they start with like an abstract, and then it's the preface, and then there is this.
Okay, yeah, like a research paper format, like the way
Yeah.
it's structured. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Structured is the word I'm looking for, probably. So the way it's structured tells us that even though magic were also a part of medicine, magic was an alternative part to basically everything in every issue you could have. If your neighbor accused you of stealing from them and they took you to court for it, you could then choose whether or not you wanted like a judge and a jury, or if you wanted the god to do the decision.
Oh, what could possibly go wrong?
It probably depends most on how much you could pay the priest that will like tip.
Of course.
But sometimes in those cases, we know from court records that the person accused went free. We also know that sometimes the priest had been paid, but wouldn't tip the god statue in the expected way for conviction of the accused, because it was so obvious that it was bullcrap and he was innocent, and they were like, thanks for the payment, but
Yeah. Like you've got to accept our ruling. You asked for it. You've got to accept it.
Exactly. But no, what we can see in this papyrus is that it's not the medicine that they had wasn't just based off of untested ideas, and if it didn't work, then oh well, it wasn't your time, it was the gods, they did it. We're gonna keep with this type of. It shows that they used a form of like proto-scientific method to come up with these treatments, and how you figure out, like, there are questions of if, oh my goodness, my brain just thought I should switch to Swedish. That's weird.
Brains. You know.
Yeah. Now I'm speaking English to you. I am Swedish. I'm also reading a text in hieroglyphics that's been transliterated to so it's hieroglyphics but written with our letters.
Now, I have a question for you about this multilingual thing. Like, I realize it's overtaxing your brain. How does your brain process it? Like, when you read the hieroglyphics, do you translate it into concepts and then put the concepts into whichever words you need, or do you like read it, mentally translate it into Swedish and then translate that into English?
No, actually the other way around, because I learned it. I learned it in English because there were no books, no study books, no study texts in Swedish.
That's interesting.
But I do. So when it comes to, do I translate it as the concept, or, and that very much depends on the word, because in some cases you have to take into account
the nuances of language. I've seen a few
yeah.
multilingual people run into difficulties like that. Like, there's one creator that I watch on YouTube sometimes, called The Click, because he's just memes and wholesomeness, and it's nice to get away from the news sometimes. I believe he's also Swedish, but he speaks like 6 languages, and every so often he'll run into a word he wants to say, but the word is from like German and there isn't an equivalent in English, so he can explain the concept in Dutch or Swedish or something, but he can't just translate the word because it doesn't connect directly.
Yep. That is that. Oh, if you only knew how common that is, especially for me, because I'm actually pretty particular with my choice of words, which isn't as obvious when I speak like this, because when I talk like this, I have to think fast. But if I write, for instance, that's very different. Then I can go in deeper into my thoughts and write it out. And the nuances, I like to use words and acknowledge the nuance rather than just mash all the words up into one with a simplistic meaning. But it's also one of the reasons that I speak, I mean, I understand many more languages than I speak, but I tend to speak both Swedish and English. I mean, even with soot.
That's right. Soot is also a multilingual person.
Yeah, he even more than I am, in that he is a native Swede, but since his parents are native Finnish, they spoke Finnish in the home, and he still speaks Finnish with his dad. So he has that one really set. And
It keeps things
I
interesting.
can say hyviaula. That's God jul. I
So-
mean, that's Merry Christmas.
I knew a couple once. The one person was French but also spoke English, and the other person was Russian but also spoke English. So they were together, but they both had to communicate with each other in their second language because neither spoke the other's native language. It be like that sometimes. Oh well, we digress. Tangents. People come here for the tangents. That's why we have merch about tangents. When you can
Yes.
you too can get the tangent merch if you want to at the store at betterthanumber.com, or sometimes right below this video. Who's to say? Sometimes YouTube does its thing. But I digress. Why did you want to bring up this scroll in particular? Because it's an early instance of people taking women's health like as an actual science kind of thing?
Yes. Primarily that, but also to show the fact that these people weren't stupid. The treatments that we see here, for instance, if I'm reading from one of the examples, if a woman was stricken by some prescription from pregnancy after serving the fruit of an unruh tree, grind and refine by filtering. So a woman has issues related to pregnancy. Grind and refine by filtering with the clothing with fermented vegetal mucus. Bath with waves. Incense, new oil, date syrup, and sweet beer. Give it to a burning vessel. Then you should burn, and some words are no more readable, as a sweetener of the mouth. For preventing pregnancy, to prevent pregnancy, crocodile
Oral
dung.
contraceptives. You know, okay, so I wonder about this. Was it a bigger deal to prevent pregnancy or to like control periods? Because like
Bigger
before
deal.
we had, like Comtexes and tampons and shit, the alternatives were there were alternatives. You know, it wasn't like people did nothing. Women have always had solutions for that, but they weren't great.
But wait, so when you say the bigger issue, do you mean like people today in the US have an issue with things like contraceptives? Or do you mean it was a greater challenge to?
I suppose which would be the higher priority, because I'm aware of some cultures where the solution to dealing with the constant menstruation thing humans do was just to stay pregnant.
So, to my knowledge, there isn't really an issue per se. Like, we know that they used sort of an ancient tampon, if you will, like rolling some kind of not vegetable,
Yeah, different cultures had different answers. I'm not sure which one Egypt went with, but
Yeah.
sometimes there'd be something sort of like cotton that you could make a sort of fabric absorbent thing with. Sometimes it was tampon-ish, but sometimes it was
This is
some kind of wool or various things.
yeah. So because they didn't wear pants. Pants weren't a thing in Egypt. But and it's possible that there were other methods as well, but one of them were making like a roll of fabric, probably linen, because that's what they mostly had, and like leaves and herbs and stuff like that. Roll that into a roll and use it as a tampon.
Like to soothe and whatnot, so it isn't just
Yeah.
absorb it. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. And it should also always smell, because of the whole idea that the womb is wandering around in the body.
Those,
Oh yeah,
those damn wandering organs. Last week my kidney was on my shoulder. It just happens.
yeah, it
wombs
happens.
especially.
But
Oh,
but then it's important to have something that smells good, because then the vulva will travel down to, or not the vulva, the uterus will travel down towards where it smells good.
because the uterus can smell.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So there.
The interesting thing is
I-
that
I-
during ovulation, the uterus actually does get closer to the vaginal opening. It compresses in the upper vagina. But also, I was discussing with Dr. Ben the other day. It's not important. Somewhere at some point we were talking about it. The uterus doesn't actually have to be anywhere in particular for conception to happen. It turns out sperm have sort of a very advanced seek and destroy mechanism. It doesn't matter where you try to hide the egg, it will find it, you know?
Yeah, so
maybe that's what Easter egg hunts are all about. I don't know.
That's actually was my first thought, but I didn't want to accidentally derail it, because I think it's very important that the fact that we see from nearly like 1800 BCE, we have this text where women's issues are being cared for. There is an interest in developing an understanding for how the female body works, which also points to the fact that women are more than just baby makers. And that is the case in ancient Egypt. Women were more than just baby makers. So, for instance, preventing pregnancy, there's a recipe for that includes crocodile dung, and you stick it up the wazoo.
Well, in fairness, having crocodile dung up there has a very high likelihood of preventing pregnancy by way of no one else wanting to stick anything else up there.
Mm-hmm. And they have several. That's the first. The first they recommend is the crocodile dung that's pounded with fermented vegetal mucus, immersed in something something. The other is another prescription. Hin of honey, pour it into her vulva. This is to be done together with a natron contraceptive. One other, with fermented vegetal mucus, sprinkle inside her vulva.
That's interesting. So one of the things that's fascinating about honey is that it happens to be antibacterial and antifungal naturally. That's one of the reasons it was used as a topical antibiotic in the old days before we had like proper antibiotics. But because of those attributes being antibacterial and antifungal, could it also be, I don't know if spermicidal is the right term, but if it interferes with the motion of the spermies, then it could actually be a legitimate contraceptive. But because it's antibacterial and antifungal, it's less likely to cause you problems for sticking it up there.
Yeah, I think the main idea is because even though they, of course, they didn't have words like antibacterial, but they of course knew that there were issues where they had issues caused by bacteria. So, but I think that the honey is mostly to act like a what's the word? Like like a plug, because it also says that the honey is to be done together with a natron contraceptive. And natron is a form of salt. That were thought of as, that were used for cleansing purposes. But then
oh goodness. So I googled it real quick to see if it's wild. So is honey, does it have spermicidal properties? And you know, the AI overviews, of course, it's not scientifically validated or a reliable modern spermicide, but then it brought up historical use. The ancient Egyptians is documented in the Kahun Gynecological Papyrus used honey as a vaginal contraceptive. The mechanism was that it was thought to block the cervix, although modern science does not support that. And as far as the effectiveness, research indicates that honey can act as a sperm protector during freezing, like when you preserve it for later kind of thing. And it can increase motility and viability. So it's kind of counterproductive if you want to use it as a spermicide, because it increases motility and viability. Don't feed your sperm honey. Holy shit.
I think that's where the natron comes in. And for these, the ones that we have been talking about, I don't have, of course should have looked it up before, but I didn't. I don't have the estimated success rates. What I do know is that people today who work with like what's the word? Paleopathology. So illnesses in the olden times.
Okay.
They have concluded that this shows that even though the full, like, it makes sense that the things that they did, because even though, like, say you have a recipe that contains date syrup and crocodile dung and leaves from some tree and something else. Maybe all of that was, it didn't do crap, but there was something else in the recommendation, like she should also sit on the ground with the plug up her woo. Oh, okay, that will help. So that's not an example taken from the papyrus. It's an example taken from my head. Okay.
Sure.
So it makes sense then that they are using what they have around, and when they see that it works, they write it down and say this worked in this specific case. When the woman had these and these and these symptoms, it worked in that case. But
Okay, so
then
it was sort of
another
the
woman
results.
came in, and she had kind of those same, but she also had these and these symptoms, and that it didn't work. But
All right.
the crown. Sorry.
I was just trying to get a handle on the methodology. Like, instead of doing experiments to see what worked, they were noting down what did work and what didn't work. Like, if one set of circumstances it seemed to be effective, a different set of circumstances it didn't seem to be effective, and they were just kind of cataloging use cases, sort of thing.
So in this papyrus, they haven't written down things that didn't work at all, but they do have multiple treatment methods for. So it starts with example A, woman with 3 bones sticking out of her ass, and she's.
I hate when that happens.
And she's also, her head is screwed on and 2.5 times too much, and she's upside down.
Well, that's very unfortunate.
I'm not good at giving examples on the top of my head. But that's a lot. And then they give then you should do this. But if her head isn't screwed down 2.5 times too much, she just has 3 bones sticking out of her back, and she's upside down, you should do this. If she's also vomiting, you should say to her, there is nothing we can do for you. You go home and be with your husband and your children. And
Okay. So it was a like a diagnostic system that was more like a cookbook rather than an understanding of the underlying issues. It was like, if you have these symptoms, this, but if you have the same symptoms with this extra thing, then this completely different thing, instead of trying to get to the underlying disease or disturbance or disorder or whatever. They were just like, nope, if this, then this, but if this, then that.
Yes, very much so, very much so.
Okay.
But the crowning glory, almost. I read all of this papyrus, but it's been like 7 or 8 years, and I don't remember much. And I still think so. First of all, it's not this papyrus. It's called the gynecological papyrus because a lot of it has to do with gynecology, but not all of it is. There are also like a woman with aches in her knees or hard of seeing or whatever. But it's also cramps, menopause, menstruation, more cramps. The vulva or the womb is traveling up towards her eyeballs.
Oh no.
No. The crowning
would it be
glory.
such a bad thing if the womb were up near the eyeballs? And Jiro wants to know, what is the Egyptian cure for a wandering uterus?
That's gonna be depending on her mood. Otherwise, is going to tell them whether or not she is, whether or not the womb is angry, or if it's just lost, or if it's stubborn. So you're going to, depending on that, you are going to use different things that you burn, and she's going to stand on top of, like, legs spread wide,
so that the uterus can smell it. Yeah.
On top of a like incense or little burning pile of incense.
Wait a second. There are certain gods who, in order to smell something, in order to have an aroma pleasing unto the Lord, you have to burn the thing in a place where they can then sniff it and inhale the vapors. So are you saying that the uterus is a small god trapped inside a human body, or alternately that these blood and burnt offering gods like Yahweh are very lost uteruses?
I would like for it to be the latter, but it's actually fun that you say that, because that has been my exact question for quite some time. I haven't gotten any really good answers, but I have come across things that actually hints towards not really that it's a god, but there is this sense of that it's an entity of its own, in a way. Maybe I should try and because it's been a while now since I last looked into this.
It's an interesting idea. This is a neat thing about how different cultures perceive things, is sometimes the ways they conceptualize things are so vastly different from the way we think about them in our culture, regardless of time. But like, there's other cultures that see things differently today, that it opens up interesting lines of thought that could lead to new information. For example, with the idea of the uterus having its own mood separate from your mood, its own attitude separate from your attitude, even its own knowledge separate from your knowledge. There's actually something to that. Like the hormones being produced in the reproductive system certainly affect your mood, but likewise, the hormones being produced in the rest of your body based on your mood affect the performance of your reproductive system. We know, psychological stress can have a big impact on fertility. But also, there's things going on that it doesn't care if you're in the middle of a bicycle race. If it decides it's time to shed the lining, it's going to do that. It's quasi-independent, not in a conscious, sentient sort of way, but in a, I suppose, a computer executing a program kind of way. As soon as the right conditions are met, it seems to make a choice and do a thing, regardless of what you want or what's going on.
Yeah, and so I because we know that every organ that the Egyptians felt had a meaning, a purpose, I should say, a purpose. So not the brain, but the other
brain,
organs.
The useless heat sink.
Exactly. The brain's only use is filling the head. That's it.
Oh, so it has a nice round shape instead of just being like a chunk.
Yeah, and like probably so it shouldn't echo in there or something. Or
can you imagine the singing we could do if it were an empty sinus cavity we could just resonate around in?
No, because my first thought is they did, when they mummified someone, they took out the inner organs and mummified them separately and put them in specific jars outside, canopic jars, except from the heart, because the heart was supposed to be in the body and be protected by a heart scarab, because that's what you're going to need your heart when your heart is to be weighed against the Federal Ma'at.
Okay. Does
but you needed all of your organs.
Help with the weight issue?
Sorry?
Does dehydrating the heart help with the weighing, right? When you get to the afterlife and you've got the feather and the heart, and since water is very heavy, does dehydrating the heart help with that?
Reasonably, it should. Even though I think since it's a moral test, you either have to buy in to the magical stuff where a heart weighs differently because it carries some kind of moral sin.
Guilt. Well, okay, that's another interesting question from a philosophical standpoint. Was the weight issue because of some kind of objective crime, like a sin where you've betrayed the law of the gods, or is it more of an internal thing like regret, which most cultures would admit weighs you down. Whether the thing was
So
objectively
it was
right or
both.
wrong, it's
It was
regret.
both. It was both, actually, because there are spells within the funerary texts. There are spells where that specifically is to tell the heart to not betray me at the weighing. So don't let my heart tell the secrets that I carry.
Ooh.
But if the heart would go ahead and do that, then you could be in shit.
So the heart, like the uterus, makes its own decisions.
Yes.
These damn organs. Well, I mean, if the brain is useless, why not, right?
Exactly. But again, just to go back to, because it was mentioned on a different show, and I thought it needs to be mentioned on this show. I can't find my way back to my. Oh, that's because it's a PDF file. Never mind.
Too many tabs.
Too many tabs and other thingies.
I have that problem too. Often.
I have to close. I had to close down. I had like 4 windows, and at least one of them had well over 200 tabs open, and the others had multiple tabs as well.
That is definitely too many tabs. I can't come anywhere close to that because each tab uses like half a gigabyte of RAM for some reason. I probably have too many plugins or something, but whatever the case may be, I can't. That's too many. But I do have tabs from where we left off last week with the timeline and with the clocks and calendars and things. So like, where the hell were we? We were around papyrus sheets, a little bit with pyramids, and now we're what was it, the 19th century BCE? So sometime after the calendar, we're into gynecology.
We're into gynecology, and again, this is the written papyrus that we have found. That's not to say that the first papyrus they wrote about this brand new science, that's the one we found. So this is what is so, it goes back to this idea that people back then were somehow stupid, like less intelligent, and nothing could be further from the truth. They didn't have the experience, the accumulated knowledge that we have, for obvious reasons. But for what they had, you can still see these, like, for instance, what's shown in this papyrus is that there is a process of testing and trial and going with working and looking at symptoms, and not just deem every woman hysterical and give them a dildo and put them in an asylum.
It's definitely a plus, because women weren't just property. Women were useful. Women had lives, and like everybody else experiencing
and
medical
women
issues,
had rights.
Treat the problem and get them back into society. So our civilization can function.
Exactly.
But yeah, this is fascinating for a lot of reasons. Like you mentioned, it shows that they gave a fuck about women's health, women's specific things, but also that there was a practice of putting medical information into not just tablets, but papyrus, because papyri could be widely disseminated, which shows there was not just an interest, but something of an educational, or even maybe there was even a medical professional organization. Like, why would you write this papyrus if not to give it to other physicians? But also in the 19th century BCE, we're talking a period. Oh, I need Dr. Kip for the exact dates on things, but there were empires running around the neighboring area, and Egypt was one of the powers in the world. They were trading with these other kingdoms and exchanging information. And so they're also, from a scholarly perspective, trying to accumulate all that is known so we can continue building on the sum total of knowledge, the same as scholars today do, you know?
Yeah,
And so
that's what was done with the even though that's much later towards the end, when Ptolemy the second, I believe, built the library in Alexandria, was to every single ship that came into the port of Alexandria had people going on board, seizing every single document that they could find. They took it to the library, had it copied, and gave back the copy. So they kept the original.
I've heard of this. It's in a different format. There's a modern fictional book series. I forget the author. The main character's name is Alcatraz, and like, oh, shit, the first book is like Alcatraz and the Evil Librarians or something like that. But there's this group of like ghost librarians, and they do this like anytime a person walks anywhere near their area of influence, like their temple or whatever, the ghosts assault them and take every piece of writing they have, make a copy, and then give back the copy. And like, they will kill you for your documents.
Ooh.
It's wild. I'm like, oh, okay, that seems a bit extreme, but this is what the devotees of the Great Library did, though, was the preservation of the written information mattered more than anything else.
Theo asked a question in chat. Oh, I have to say that to everyone in chat right now. After we had last time we were talking about this, I went through as much of the chat conversation that I could read that before it cut off. But there were I was so happy about the discussions that went on, the comments, the questions. I was just, it meant so much to me because it showed me that you were on the ball, you were listening, and at least you didn't cry yourself to sleep right in that moment. And I just, I spanked myself. I flagellated myself as a true deviant. For not having, because there were so many things that was brought up that I went, oh, that one, I should have expanded on that thing that person said. Ah, so, but now I actually see a question from Theo. He says, did they write from left to right, horizontal like us, or different? That's a very good question. And the answer is they wrote left to right or right to left, and they wrote horizontal or vertical.
So they just however they felt like.
Yeah, it depends on. It was choice, but it was also a matter of how it looks. Like
Well,
symmetry is very important, and oftentimes you will see, if you see like a wall carving or painted tomb walls or whatever, you oftentimes see that, say there is a mid scene, there's a scene depicted in the middle, and then you will have on one side you will have text that's, so on the left side you're going to see text written left to right, so out from the image, and on the right side you're going to have text that's written left to right. So left side, right to left, right side, left to right. And also, as I said, up, down, and in up, down can also be either left to right or right to left. And there is, since they didn't use punctuation, there is no punctuation in ancient Egyptian or hieroglyphics.
And a lot of the symbols represented whole words rather than specific letters. So it was easier to write in different directions because you'd get the whole concept. The order of the letters mattered less, right?
Yes and no. I mean,
it depends.
It's much more complicated than that. So some signs means a single word. Some very simple one is like mouth. The sign for mouth is also has the phonetic value of R. R. Of course, the German invented dildos. Okay. Yeah, I accidentally started a dildo discussion.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it happens. It happens. But you know, if you're here for a good time and you're not interested in adult fun toys, we offer garlic bread, or at least garlic bread on a shirt. You know, if you want to have a good time, there's that. And then you can get that also at the Ember store. But on writing direction, like people who were raised in a certain culture, they think that's just the way it's done because that's what they were raised with, and they've never really questioned it. But it is just a social convention. Like here in the English speaking world, people say we write from left to right, we read from left to right, but that's not really true because sometimes it's top to bottom, depending on how you're displaying the word, and no one has any trouble reading top to bottom. I could see how it might be more confusing if we went right to left, but there are other cultures where without that prescription of that cultural convention, left to right, right to left, I mean, there's people, places in history. Da Vinci, for example, some of his stuff was written right to left because he was left-handed. and he just wrote that way, you know? There's no
Yeah.
reason not to, not really, you know?
I mean, like this, the way that you can instantly tell which direction am I supposed to read this text is by looking at the signs, the hieroglyphs that have, for instance, birds which have heads, or
Oh, is it
some
which way they're
sign that
facing?
features feet. So you're going to read so that you meet the face or the beak of the bird or the toes of the feet of the person that walks. Because if you write the other way around, the signs are going to switch. They're not going to be
That's
the
interesting. So
same.
they will, do you reverse all the shapes or just the ones that can
Yes.
show directionality?
No, all.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it close up. I'm trying to find something that would, like, there's a lot of things that definitely have directionality, like this thing that looks like our numeral 2, but it's hard to say which way it's supposed to be facing for writing it in a given. I mean, this is pretty obviously right to left, not only because of where the alignment of the text is, but also because of the direction the shapes were drawn. They were very clearly written going this way, but I don't see like anything that's obviously a bird or something. In fact, there's a lot of things that look like numeral 2s, but slightly different.
So this is hieratic. Hieratic is the slightly simplified script that was used but was used for sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. Oh, for writing on papyrus. It's easier with ink to write like that. I could see some birds. I did so the first, I started with hieroglyphics. That's what everyone starts with. And then I started to learn hieratic. But I didn't get very far. And I haven't used it at all. So maybe I could, because so most of the time when you deal with a text, you're not going to deal with it in its direct form. You're going to deal with it in like, it's been even hieratic texts are transcribed to hieroglyphic text, because every single Egyptologist who's working on some inscription can't use that particular inscription only. It wouldn't work for obvious reasons. You will have to use photographs, and they will be copied, and so I'm not very good at, but I'm looking for what's so It's so weird. Maybe it's because I look at things. I constantly, like, it's like parts of what I have on my computer tends to just disappear sometimes. And maybe
hate when
that's
that
because, yeah, and I think it might be because it's in the cloud.
Oh,
Hmm.
those damn divine beings just zapping lightning bolts and dispensing with things willy-nilly.
Exactly.
It's very rude.
It's very rude. Very rude. So quickly to yet again go back to the Cahoon Medical Gynecological Papyrus. And this is why I'm looking for my shit. In it, you have, oops, pregnancy diagnosis. Quite a few of them. Whoops.
So I guess that's a question. Like we talked a while back a little bit about ancient pregnancy tests, but like a diagnosis is a little different from like a home test kind of thing. So like how did that work? Like did you have to wait till you were like 6 or 7 months along and then the physician would be like, "Oh yeah, you're definitely pregnant." Like look at your belly.
Yeah, of course, the belly and such has always been and like our growing breasts and things like that. One problem with those kinds of diagnosis when they just go by how is she looking, what are the visible signs. One of the issues is one that was very common in way later on in the CE era, among people, oftentimes upper class and within royalty and such in Europe. In fact, it happened to Elizabeth I's sister, Mary, Queen of Scots, who, not Mary, Queen of Scots, Mary, Bloody Mary. They are different.
Are they?
Mary the First. She so desperately wanted to become pregnant, and she needed to be pregnant to so that she could continue the line of succession. It turned out that she never was pregnant, and in modern day, her remains have been exhumed, and it's been looked. People have examined her remains, and she actually had what's the word, oval, like cancer on the ovaries, and that killed her. So not only wasn't she pregnant, she had a what do you call that, a ghost pregnancy, no, a
phantom pregnancy.
Phantom pregnancy, yes, phantom pregnancy. So when the doctors looked at her, they said, "Oh yes, she's most definitely pregnant."
Okay. I mean,
And she wasn't. But the Egyptians, they had a different way. And I would like to read from this papyrus directly, but I'm not sure if I don't have the whole.
well, my copy is missing some bits. I mean, it's remarkably well intact for being so fucking old. Now, I should say that this specific papyrus was rediscovered in like 1890-ish. So it's been out of whatever hole it was hiding in for, we're getting close to 150 years now. That makes it a book, a modern book, where the pages look that good after 150 years is kind of rare.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And again, it cannot be overstated how fragile papyrus is. It's really, it's amazing that we have anything left of it.
Especially this big a sheet. Like, yeah, there's huge chunks gone, but there's also huge chunks that are like, consider, for example, Dr. Kip's specialty, the Dead Sea Scrolls, where there are chunks that are measured in centimeters, like that's a common size. Finding a great big piece like this is stupid rare.
Oh yeah.
Yet we have quite a lot of that in Egypt, don't we? Like there's the the fucking letters. I can't remember the name of them. I want to say
Amarna letters.
Amarna, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like those are just like one-off random assemblages of letters, like just correspondence, like someone's mailbox. And there's shit like that all over the damn place, and it's preserved so well in the desert. It makes me wonder if writing may not have been invented in that climate, but like the oldest writing is best preserved in that climate,
Yeah, I mean, Egypt
it probably was invented in there, because we do have like older human civilizations from like 8,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago.
Oh yeah.
10,000 years ago is pushing whether it's a civilization, but human erected stuff, and
so
there's no language there.
We usually put somewhere between 8 to 6, probably closer to 8, I would say, 1000 BCE, people started to settle in the Nile Valley, which of course doesn't mean they didn't live there before, but we start to see settlements.
Right. There have been wanderers there for like the Bedouin today. Like there's been people wandering for ages.
Exactly. And this happens in a time period when so this is around the same time that the lands of Denmark, Sweden, Norway come back up from having been under kilometers of ice and snow for thousands of years. It's also a time when this shift in climate transforms the surrounding land around the Nile Valley. Used to be savanna. It used to be green and lush, and there used to be animals that we usually connect to the savanna. Like you don't have lions in the freaking desert. Lions are desert animals, but they had them in Egypt. Gazelles aren't desert animals, but they had them in Egypt. Rams, all of that. So, but when the climate changed and the savanna started to dry out, the people who had wandered around and been like more hunter-gatherer in the savanna, and of course, even those who were more settled, but maybe not fully settled, they followed where the water and the green ground and the animals and so forth were, and that eventually was just the Nile Valley.
Yeah, it's well, it kind of goes to the same sort of thing as the papyrus, like noting the relationship between things, but not necessarily deducing the causal connection between them. Like, oh, look, all this green land, and also there happens to be this river here. It wasn't until later that people figured out that it's because of the river that the land is green. But yeah, it's I was gonna say, as far as the lions, and I discovered I was muted for it. There's a couple different ways we get there. Part of it is the cultural leftovers. But you know, seeing lions, that could be from explorers and things, or people who traveled, you know, towards the headwaters and so forth. But also what we can see from modern climate science, like the desert is continuing to expand. And therefore, it stands to reason that as we go back in time, the desert was smaller. And if we go back far enough, a lot of what's now desert was savanna with lions and shit. It makes a lot of sense. Like, there is such a thing as well, in legends at least, there's such a thing as a sand lion. Like, there's a mountain lion and a forest lion and so forth. But Carthage had a whole lot of lion stuff going on. There was a Carthaginian colony, which is interesting since Carthage itself was a colony, but details. A kingdom called Opet, I believe, where the ruler was called the lion. A lot of rulers went by that, but what's fascinating about it is they set up in a place that does not have lions. So, like, they brought the idea with them. Anyway, I digress. We're just about at time, so we need to start wrapping up. Was there anything else that you wanted to note about this surprisingly interesting papyrus today?
Yes, and that is the fact that it features a pregnancy test where a woman who's not yet showing she takes one bag of barley and one bag of what's the word? It's a form of a wheat that I can't remember the name of. We say spelt in Sweden. It's a form of wheat. So one barley, one wheat. And she pees on them. And she puts it away.
Okay.
And this is why I'm simultaneously when I'm talking to you, because I don't want to say the wrong thing. If the wheat sprouted, she were pregnant.
Oh, is this the thing where if the barley sprouted, it was a boy, if the wheat sprouted, it was a girl?
Yes. And
so like it wasn't just a pregnancy test. It was somewhat effective for determining the sex of the baby too.
Exactly. But the reliability of which sex, that wasn't, I don't know from the top of my head, but from what I know, it has no real truth to it, not to a degree where you can. It's like lie detector test. It's like 50-50, whatever can happen.
Oh, okay. So it's sort of like a psychic reader. They pay attention to when it gets it right, but when it gets it wrong, they just laugh it off and forget about it.
Yeah, but when it comes to the reliability of whether or not the woman is pregnant, because that's the main part of the test, is she pregnant? She's not showing, but is she pregnant? That's up towards 70%. 70 to 72% accuracy. And that is pretty fucking high for 1800 BCE.
Now, I'm very curious. Did they collect data in a scientific way on that, or are they just reporting anecdotes from other people? Like, has anybody gone back and verified their results?
The results,
like real results.
The results had, I can tell you this, nowhere in the papyrus does it say that it has a 70% accuracy. They went by trial and error, and there are other medical papyri where where someone has added in, like, yeah, no, this one wasn't good, don't use this one next time.
Oh, neat. Marginalia.
Yeah,
I love it.
But in modern day, we have tested using the information in this papyrus. The method has been tested, and since I know so little about pregnancy and all of that, it has to do with some enzyme that is it's the same thingamajig that causes modern pregnancy test to react. It's some enzyme protein something in the urine that shows up as soon as you are as soon as you are pregnant, whether or not what's in there is a lump of cells or, I don't know, a baseball.
It all depends on what it's reacting to. Like some of our older pregnancy tests that's still in use today react to estrogen. Like one of the things you can do with a blood test is measure estrogen, because one of the first thing that happens is your estrogen level starts to spike. But there's also other hormones that the corpus luteum releases that only reach a certain elevation when the zygote actually implants. Like if there's no implantation, you don't get the spike of that hormone, and that'll happen within a day or two of implantation. So you can get like really, really early results if you can detect for that specific hormone being above a certain level. It's pretty neat, but it's very specific biochemistry, which we really couldn't have figured out without both microscopes and knowing things about how pregnancy works, which means it's 20th century by necessity. But still cool.
Oh, I found some thing here. It's an article written by Maria de Capua Pore. Then it's very weird because her name has an X and an A with an of tongue and a euro sign and a trademark. I don't know.
Well,
I know. Vice President of Laboratory Sciences and David Carlton, CEO of Orthogonal Diagnostics.
okay.
That points out that while modern pregnancy testing is much quicker and more accurate, ancient Egyptians were onto something when they realized pregnancy could be determined by testing a woman's urine. By the early 20th century, when modern biology discovered the existence of hormones, researchers eventually realized that a woman's body produced a hormone called human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG, after an egg is fertilized, and that these hormones were present in urine. The trick was finding a way to detect whether HCG was present in urine. And
it's always tricky detecting those pesky hormones. Especially the ones like that are trace elements at the best of times and are just and complex hormones, like to make it all the way through. One of the things that happens to stuff in the bloodstream is the liver tends to denature it. It like decommissions old stuff. It's easier with big things like cells, like a red blood cell. When a red blood cell has run its course and it's no longer effective, the liver will break it so that the kidneys have an easier time pulling it out. But hormones get filtered out. And so to have like an intact hormone make it into the urine isn't super common.
Right.
The fact that there's enough of them making it through into the urine and therefore enough to detect means there's a lot of them running around the bloodstream.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, the Egyptians had no concept of hormone or, I mean, they didn't know what the cell was. But the method they found worked. And they knew, so they knew that the method worked and it wouldn't work if she wasn't pregnant. So it's not one of these where, which we see later on during like the Middle Ages, or the witch hunt, where it's very much you're doomed if you do and you're doomed if you don't. We're like, okay, we're gonna throw you in ice cold water and see if you float. If you float, you're a witch and we're gonna execute you. If you don't, then you drown.
And you're not a witch, and we're very
And
sorry.
you're
Our
not a witch,
condolences
and we
to the
don't
family.
have to execute you because you're
Yeah.
already dead.
Very sorry. Our bad. Yeah, which of course the point was not to detect witches; it was to control women.
No.
But that's a topic
Of course,
for another
of course.
time. We do have to wrap up. We're actually
Yes.
over considerably. That
Mhm.
never happens.
And never. And there is still so much we could talk about. This was just one papyrus. But again, I hope you people out there in the chat, I know most, if not all of you, you're science-minded, rational thinking, educated people.
Nerds.
You're a nerd. You're
I
nerds.
love my nerds.
But I love nerds. There's nothing better.
I'm so glad because I myself I'm a ridiculous nerd. I'm just the
It's one of your many,
I'm
many wonderful attributes. No, but I hope to give you this sense that because we still so often hear, and I know why it's being said, but it's the whole, oh, it was written by Bronze Age goat herders. Yeah, that doesn't mean that you're stupid.
Ancient humans were every bit as capable of thinking through a problem as humans today. They just lacked the baseline information we have available thanks to our Googles and magic computer machines.
Exactly. And we are amazing at working and working out issues and even expanding from just we have to fix this imminent issue, otherwise we will die, to the more when we elaborate on the results and we turn it into pleasure, if you will. And we're able to do that thanks to our brains. And we do it whether we have to or not have to, and we use the tools that we have so that we can create new tools and get new information. And I think that is one of the most beautiful characteristics that we have as humans. We're very neugierig, curious.
Some of us, the best of us, I dare say.
The best of us.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I think even those who aren't, they are, but they have had it threatened out of them. Don't test, don't go out of the box, don't do this. If you do, you will burn forever, you will be beaten, you will da 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 da. And they have been paralyzed by fear. But it's not, it can't be dangerous to know more. It can be depressing sometimes, I have to say. Some shit you wish you didn't know. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's what you do with it.
Yeah, stay curious. There's a whole bunch of YouTubers who sign off with that one, but it is a good one. Definitely stay curious, stay beautiful, stay kind, stay compassionate, stay wonderful, stay nerdy, and
Stay
I
safe
suppose you
and
might
stay
say,
sane.
I mean, stay safe too, but also stay deviant.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for joining. Well, as always, I'm here every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern. I already ran through what's coming up this week, but a whole bunch of history stuff, a whole bunch of firsts. I hope you join us for those. And of course, we'll be seeing Deviant again at some point in the future to talk about more of the past.
Yes, I love it.
Thank you all so much. And stay warm. There's ice out there, friends. Be careful. Toodles. Thanks to all our patrons and top-level members for December. Miranda, Karen Butcher, Jessica the Transmetal Alchemist, Robin Webster, Maya Adkison, Jimmy Tux, Ian Chen, Lilith, Ember Lynn, The Barely Bearable Atheist, Eric Wander, Jason Jacoby, Lil of All Trades, Deviant Outcast, Kelly King, the Detroit Atheist Queen, The Mighty Filbert, Secular Feelinist, and Geo Sam. And you can add your name here next month by signing up at patreon.com/betterthanember, or by joining Emberships here on YouTube at the Cinder level, which includes all the custom emojis, tons of member-exclusive content, member-only live streams, and a bunch of other stuff. I deeply appreciate all the supporters who keep this channel going. Thank you so much. Because of you, we're building a wonderful community that I'm very proud of.
Just like a spark.